Well, it's a cloudy, dreary evening in southwest Florida with a lot of rain moving through. The good news is, as we already know, Tropical Storm Isaac is not going to be anything that's a life changer for us. I should have copyrighted this phrase on Friday. I said this like 5 times on Friday. I said this isn't going to be a life-changing storm. It's going to be a life-altering storm. And I think that's really true. I mean, most people are probably watching TV, sitting inside, not wanting to go outside and deal with these occasionally heavy rains. Now, here's the latest on Isaac, which is getting a little bit stronger, and that may make it a little more interesting as we go through the evening, because the rains may get a little bit heavier and the winds may pick up a little bit, especially here in the next 3-4 hours or so. Here's a look at the satellite and radar composite. You can see the feeder bands associated with Isaac, and we can call them feeder bands because it's a pretty well-formed tropical storm moving into central and south Florida. Michelle Cunningham's going to have a close look at that rain coming up in just a minute. Here's the intermediate advisory on Isaac, which bumped the winds up to 65 miles per hour. Moving to the west-northwest at 15. Right now, the center of it, about 150 miles away from Marco, continuing to move out into the open waters of the Gulf. Plenty of warm water out there for it to strengthen. Look at that. We've seen an update on the wind gust in Charlotte County, a 44-mile-per-hour wind gust in Port Charlotte, most likely with one of those feeder bands that's been sweeping through southwest Florida over the last hour. Some locations, the wind gusts only at about 10 to 20 miles per hour, but right now, a 31-mile-per-hour wind gust reported in Bonita Springs. Now, the winds could be in excess of 60 miles per hour from Marco Island southward. That would be the extreme as the wind gusts go. A 50-mile-per-hour wind gust not out of the question in Lee County. Obviously, we've seen a wind gust over 40 miles per hour right now in Charlotte County. Rain is something we're really going to be concerned about with this system because it's already producing heavy rains. And if it does intensify and makes its way into the Gulf, remember, there's been a lot of weather on the east side of this storm. Matter of fact, Ed Rappaport, the Deputy Director at the National Hurricane Center, said that that's something that Southwest Florida needs to be concerned about because even though the storm is leaving us, there's a lot of weather on that east side that's going to be moving in, not only tonight, but throughout the day tomorrow. Storm surge isn't something that we've addressed a lot over the last 12 hours or so, mainly because our winds are from the east right now. If it's doing anything, Isaac is taking water with it out into the Gulf. That may not be the case tomorrow, though, as we start to see a wind shift. The winds become more south to southwesterly, and then, of course, the rain that we're seeing overnight tonight through tomorrow could produce a higher than normal tide, especially tomorrow morning at about 9:30, 10 o'clock, because that's going to be the one we're most concerned about. That's our highest tide tomorrow. The water temperature anywhere from 86 to 90 degrees in the open waters of the Gulf. So Isaac, looking at that fuel as it makes its way into the Gulf and likely getting stronger, could even become a Category 1 hurricane late tonight or sometime tomorrow morning. We'll continue to watch it for you. We continue to see this rain move into southwest Florida. And here's Michelle Cunningham with a look at that rain on VIPIR.
That's right. We are seeing pockets of rain moving through southwest Florida, starting to get a little bit heavier in some areas and then quieting down a little bit in others, and that's going to be the case throughout the evening. Again, as Jim said, we are starting to see Isaac intensify. It's going to be a slow intensification, and we do have our next advisory due out at 11 o'clock tonight. But you can see a nice defined system stretching almost across the entire Florida peninsula right now. When you add that cloud cover, really a big storm system that's making its way toward the west-northwest at about 16 miles per hour, continuing to move away from the Florida peninsula. But even though it's moving away, we are still going to see things worsen over the next several hours, and that's because, as Jim said, the winds are going to be shifting around a little bit, and instead of coming from the east and pushing that water out of the canals, it's going to be coming from the south and pushing that water. So those lower level areas were prone to flooding usually, and we're looking at Everglades City, Marco Island, this area right here. You can see the angle of the water coming up. That's going to continue to push up, and again, if your area is prone to low level flooding, then there's a good possibility that you are going to see it most likely at 9:30 tomorrow morning in and around that area where we're expecting a much higher tide than normal. So again, a couple of feet of storm surge are going to be possible, particularly in those lower lying areas. And through the night tonight, you can expect the winds to pick up and then die down, pick up and die down, along with those heavy pockets of rain. Tornado watch has expired, although we do think that there is the possibility that we could see some small isolated tornadoes embedded with these feeder bands that are, again, wrapping around the Florida peninsula right now. So we're continuing to watch this system move away, but we're going to be here with you throughout the night. Now we have more news information pertinent to the system.